Welcome back to Stop Complaining. We're making a signing. The annual Arsenal goalkeeper change counts as a signing. It's never too early for a wild stab in the dark at what might happen for Arsenal next season, so I challenge you lot to give me your predictions for 24-25 on X, Patreon and YouTube to react to in this video. I've tried to cover as many bases as I can on the ones that I've picked, and I'm going to leave the big predictions, so the outcome of the Premier League, the Champions League and so on, right to the very end, because there were obviously a lot related to that, and I need the retention. Just quickly, if you do want to support the channel, by the way, please do consider joining hundreds of others and sign up to the Patreon for just £3 a month. I was going to say that's about a coffee a month, but in London that's glass of water, maybe? You get ad-free episodes of TDK Live, ad-free video essays, usually earlier than anyone else, access to the Discord, and I will always prioritize patrons' views on videos like this. And you get to private message me and tell me I look like someone you saw on YouTube Shorts. I see it, to be fair. Okay, lots to do. Let's get started on the hellhole that is X, formerly Twitter. And behold, as I butcher all of your names. Sid AFC. Kai Havertz will average goal or assist 75% or more than the games he starts. Kai Havertz will average goal or assist 75% or more than the games he's... What? Okay, I'm going to assume you mean in 75% of the games he starts, he's going to get a goal or an assist. Okay, so last season in the Premier League, he got 20 GA in 37 appearances. I can't really work out the starts numbers, but he started most of those games. But 20 GA in 37 appearances does work out at 54%. Okay, so say he starts 30 games, does a bit better than last season. Do you know what? I was laughing at you when you first put that. I can see that happening. He had a really poor start to last season. In starts, that's not a massive ground to make up. Could happen. Bukayo Saka will have a 40 GA season. Do you know what? My initial response to that was no, but that's 6 more than last season. Do you know what? You hear those numbers and you sort of go, no, it's completely unachievable. That's 6 away from what we had last season. Possible. It is possible. Carlos Cuesta will leave for a first-team manager job. I think there were some links with him in Norwich a while ago, which would make sense because Ben Napper, the old loan manager, has just gone there and is now the sporting director. I think it's inevitable at some point. I don't know whether it happens. For some reason, I get the sense that Carlos Cuesta is the sort of dude who wouldn't leave until we've won something. I think he knows at, what is he, 14, that he's going to have another job. He's going to get opportunities. If we don't do anything in the next 3 years, let's say, I think he will leave. I don't think that happened this season, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. Bukayo Saka will win the Golden Boot. I just think you have to look at the competition. Haaland, Salah's still here. Ollie Watkins, I think probably United will go and get a striker. I'm not saying no. I just think Saka will always be more than just a goal scorer. He can score goals, but I think we'd be wasting Saka if we ever just platformed him as a final action guy. And I don't think we ever will. So therefore, will he ever consistently win Golden Boots? I don't think so. So I don't think you can ever bet on it, if that makes sense. Arsenal are going to start the season off slowly due to players still returning from post-tournament breaks. Yeah, I mean, I do worry about Rice and Saka specifically. I mean, if they get to the final, that's the 14th. 11 days later is our first friendly against Bournemouth. Now, of course, they won't be involved. We're playing in the Emirates Cup by August the 11th. They're going to have to get some kind of minutes at some point during that period. And then our first game is on August the 17th against Wolves. And Saka and Rice just haven't kicked a ball since the 14th of July. I can't see it happening. But 4 weeks? Yeah, it's crazy. I think the conversation about fixture congestion, especially next year with more games in the Champions League. I think because of the new seeding system, the Carabao Cup, there's going to be changes and stuff going on. Yeah, it's mad, mate. It's mad. I don't have the answer. But I feel what it might take. It might, for some reason, I have an image of a player, like a big Premier League player, doing a proper sit-down, tell-all interview and saying that this has to stop, and we have a kind of watershed moment around it. Someone like a Saka, someone like a Bellingham or a Foden or whoever it might be, a kind of icon of the English game in some way. Yes, people will joke about Bellingham and Foden, etc., but they are. Or a Harry Kane just saying we can't do this anymore. It's going to have to take that before people turn around and do something. Or a player breaking down. I just don't want it to get to that point. Yeah, it's really concerning. On the initial point, I'll be honest, if Rice and Saka mean we can't beat Wolves because we haven't done something in the market that means we can deal with that, I think I'd argue that's on us at some point. We might start off the season slowly, but I won't be sat there going, well, the Euros Couldn't have done anything. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. Possibly. I've just said possibly to everything so far, haven't I? No. Kai Havertz will solidify his place as Arsenal's number 9, and we won't need a striker after this season like so many suggest. I don't think that's going to happen. I think I said in my last video that Kai Havertz just never makes runs in behind, didn't I, guys? I said in my last video that Kai Havertz can make those runs in behind and be a kind of channel running 9, but I don't see that as his best qualities. At some point, we are going to need a number 9 that plays on the last shoulder, is more of a box presence, is more of an aerial threat, I think. I think it's kind of inevitable. Whether that happens this summer, I don't know. I look at Victor Osimhen and I absolutely love that profile, and I really rate him. I just feel, and this is going to be a problem for him, and maybe why he never quite gets his flowers, because people won't be able to pigeonhole him. I think he's going to be the archetypal modern player who can play in different places, and basically you look at his skill set and go, okay, well, where do we want that today? Sometimes from a midfield position, sometimes a centre forward, sometimes to the right, to the left, whatever it might be. But I think that skill set we will need at some point, and that's going to require a massive signing at centre forward. As I say, I would like Osimhen. I think whoever it is, at some point we will need a different type of number 9. And I think that will mean that Kai Havertz never fully gets the run at number 9. But I don't think that's what any top club is going to be doing for the next sort of 5-10 years. I really don't think, until the next sort of iteration of football comes. Arteta will drop Gabriel at the beginning of the season, again, like we saw earlier, and it'll work. I would love to know what happened, because wasn't there some kind of rumour about Saudi bidding for like 120 million or something mental, and we said no apparently. I'd love someone to ask him at some point. Gabriel is, for me at the minute, undroppable, but look, we're all talking about there's always going to be innovation, there's always going to be something that happens in every season that Arsenal do. Are you saying to me, okay, out of the centre backs, are we going to drop Saliba? No, we're not. Do you know what I mean? So am I saying, would I drop Gabriel? What would I do? No, but I haven't got Mikel's brain. Do you know what I mean? So I think Gabriel is improved over his Arsenal career, arguably the most in the team. But if I had to, make a prediction of someone in that back four to go, if I had to choose someone, maybe it would be Gabriel. I don't know. Not to say that I don't rate the player. So you hate Gabriel? Yes. Yeah. As I just said. Yeah. We end the season with 2 players in the top 10 of the Ballon d'Or rankings. In the top 10 of the Ballon d'Or rankings, and minimum 3 in the overall rankings. I don't know, but just pausing on this quickly. How cool is it that we're talking about that? From the trenches we were in, lads and ladies, here we are. And that's not a bad take. I buy that. Timber will unanimously have the best season out of the back 4. I'm actually going to go the opposite way here. I think Timber will struggle at the beginning of next season. There will be a lot of panic. And is he ever going to recover, whatever? It takes a long time to recover from ACLs. And you don't quite get back up to your best level. Usually, I don't know with Timber, he could be a freak, sort of 6 months to a year after you come back to football. He could be fine. I'm not saying I know anything. I just think there might be a bit of he might make a mistake in one game and everyone's going, oh, have we signed a dud? Because there needs to be a narrative about every single player, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. I think there'll be a bit of a question mark around him. And because of that, he might have a brilliant end to the season. He might have had a brilliant start to the season. But I just feel like there's going to be a question mark about him at some point. Nwaneri plays 15 games this season as a sub or starter. Maybe on loan. This is massively dependent to me on Vieira and Smith Rowe. I think if Vieira and Smith Rowe stay, that massively affects Nwaneri's minutes. I think we've seen Arteta defers to seniority. But if they go, possible. I'd love to see him integrated more. I want to see a lot of him in pre-season. And if he's not playing by January, get him on loan. Get him somewhere. So he can play minutes. He turns 17 in March, so he can go. Fabio Vieira actually plays a valuable part next season, and we go far in one of the domestic cups. That actually is doing bits, isn't it? Look, I've said so many times what I think about Vieira. You can go watch that. Nothing's really changed. I think he is a brilliant player. My question is always the impact and whether he can actually get on the pitch and do it. At this point, at the level we're at, you have to be banging down the door to get in the team. Maybe he contributes. I'm not saying he doesn't. He probably has a bigger part than he did this season if he stays. I just can't see it. And again, I would love to be wrong. If you'll go, you have a gender against Fabio Vieira. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't get it. If I'm wrong, I'm getting Fabio Vieira on the back of my Arsenal shirt next season. I will do that. I will do that and I'll show all of you. This isn't a hate thing. It's not an agenda in that sort of, I want to be right about this player. I want to be wrong about the player. But the longer it goes, what was that video I made? It was like a year ago now. Nothing's changed. Gabriel Martinelli will score 40 goals next season. He will explode. I just can't see this happening. And I'm hiding this in this video so people don't kill me. Unless you are the best player in your position in the world, we have to consider how we can improve on you. That has to be the level now. That has to be. Now, that doesn't mean, well, you're not the best player in the world in your position. Get out. Let's be sensible here. But Saka, I would argue, is one of the best in the world in his position. Rice, Odegaard, Saliba, I think Gabriel's approaching it. Martinelli isn't in, for me, my top 10 wingers in the world. He might be in my top 15. And at that point, I have to be saying, okay, that doesn't mean I sell you now. It doesn't mean I go, right, what, 20 million? Yeah, have him. But I have to be thinking, okay, how do we do this? I think Martinelli will get there. I think he will be in my top 10 wingers in the world at some point. Is that next season when we're trying to beat Pep now? Don't know. I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no. I'm saying I don't know with Martinelli. People seem to be, this guy so secure that he's going to explode. And I just don't see it. I don't see it. It's obviously down to the left-hand side. You guys know I love Martinelli. I love the player. He's not been helped this season. I'm not saying he has. I just have doubts. I have doubts that he's going to be at the absolute elite level as soon as we need him to be. Will he get there? Pretty sure he will. But next year, don't know. We are going to regret not selling Trossard while we can this summer. He will never outperform his XG like the way he did last season, and he offers little to no impact on the wings. Clinical finisher, but that only stands out because no one else is a natural finisher. I disagree with the last two sentences. I think he has a lot of impact on the wings. I think we do have other natural finishers that aren't being platformed in the way that Trossard is. He's also a lot of the time coming into game states that suit him off the bench in the same way that Cole Palmer looks amazing when he comes on because, yeah, Saka's tired out your winger for 80 minutes. On the sale thing, look, I'll be honest, I was shocked by a lot of people's response to this video. People saying, I'd keep Trossard around even if there was a £30 million offer, no offers for Jesus, we've signed Leao and Osimhen. Like, what? I don't get that at all. I wouldn't sell him, by the way, unless we had that mad situation. I'd keep him. But I think the idea that Trossard is unsellable in any situation, we're always saying we should sell when the time's right. Why is Trossard exempt from that? I just don't think he's going to do what he did last season. I just don't feel that way. Maybe you do. Maybe you feel he will do exactly the same as he did last season and more. Fine, absolutely fine. But I just don't. So yeah, that's my position on Trossard. Okay, on to my kings and queens on Patreon. Johnny made some great points. I want to focus on the middle one. Tactically, the interest in players like Nico Williams, Šeško, etc. make me think we'll see more of a shift towards hitting teams quicker, either on the break or just far quicker pieces of play. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, Johnny, I completely agree. I think we'll see a change in how we transition on teams and how we approach teams. I don't think Arteta can be watching the games back from last season and not thinking we need something on the transition. I think you're right on Šeško. This is why I think we're going to look for that number 9 that I was mentioning earlier around the Kai Havertz conversation. I think we need blistering pace. By the way, I'm not sure that is Nico Williams, certainly from a standing start from what I've seen. But yeah, I think we'll be quicker. I think we will be a quicker team in certain games. You know, for example, in like the Spurs game where we were using Havertz as the outlet, you know, we're going to have different ways of playing. I use the City game as an example. City can't pin us in like that. If we have a transitional threat, we have more of a way of getting out at you very, very quickly. And I think that's a string to the tactical bow that I think we need. Micah thinks semi-finals, quarterfinals in the Champions League, and beating City after losing De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva. I do feel there's a question mark for me over a lot of their players. Kyle Walker's not getting younger. De Bruyne is not getting younger. Bernardo Silva feels like he's threatening every single year to go. A lot of the exit strategies that are coming out, Haaland, Alvarez, all that sort of stuff. I think we underestimate how much turmoil there might be at City, but we'll come to that later. Dan Bryan, thanks for the support, mate. The target now is to break the 90-point mark, and I think we'll have enough to do that. I trust Mikel to improve the left side dynamics, increase our attacking dynamism, add another carrier at midfield, and become better against mid-blocks. Yeah, if you didn't see my last video, this is all about mid-blocks and how we sort of break that down. And I think, yeah, one of the big predictions for me next season is I think we'll see a lot more carries through the middle. I think our carry progressing numbers will shoot up again in the way they did in sort of 22-23. We dropped a little bit last season. I think we'll go back up again next season. Now, on to YouTube. Zinchenko finally learns how to defend in one-on-ones. I said predictions, not dreams. We sell Smith Rowe and he ends up doing a Cole Palmer on us. What, on the bench behind Saka for England? Or I don't see him doing a Cole Palmer on us. I don't think he has that kind of mental profile. I think what he needs is support, trust and love somewhere. I think Palmer might be fueled a bit more by, let me show you what I can do. I think if he gets in a right environment, he could really thrive. But that's going to be tricky for him if he leaves Arsenal. We will have a breakthrough academy star who changes the way we play / solves one of our issues due to his unique attributes. I mean, I hope so. Is Leo Messo ready yet? Or David Luiz joins Arsenal as an assistant manager. Pundits who only watch Arsenal twice a year when their favourite team plays us will comment on our quality with 100% certainty. This is slightly off topic, but I do think in sort of 10, 20 years, I think we're going to look back and we're going to go, isn't it mad that people used to listen to like Jamie Redknapp, who we all know has watched 5 full Arsenal 90s, 4 of which were against Spurs and Liverpool, and the other one was the last game he pundited on. And we sit there and we listen to him speak about Arsenal with authority and go, yeah, that's great. And it's not to blame Jamie Redknapp. It's just such a weird situation to put someone in. It's like asking me to commentate on the United games. I haven't watched enough of them. I've watched them against us, and I've watched a couple of the... I don't know their situation as well as they do, which is why fan-led media is on the come-up, because we're obsessed. So it's an impossible task for him. I don't know why I'm picking on Jamie Redknapp. It's all of them. But yeah, it's a bizarre thing that I think will change. Midway through the season, we hear the verdict on 115 charges, and it causes all manner of chaos. But City pledged to appeal to the end of time, or money, or both. Yeah, I think this is the season we're meant to hear about it, or certainly hear part of the verdict or something. Look, I prefer not to speak, but I just... The ramifications of this, once everything's confirmed, so much is going to change. In the same way that, like, the way we talk about Arsenal this season, I just put the Timber and Partey not being there for most of the season star there as, like, all of this would have changed if that was there. The way we speak about football and the Premier League and Arsenal, it's all going to change if that happens. We will destroy big teams by 3+ goals consistently. I think our Big Six record is going to drop next year. I actually think some of the Big Six teams will be less predictable next year. I think Ange had a very, very clear identity coming in. I think that's all going to blow up. I think we're going to be caught in that. I think Liverpool are going to go through transition. I think United are going through a tactical remodelling under Ten Hag, I think. I mean, he better. Chelsea obviously have a new manager, so I think there's a lot of change in the sort of the Big Six. And for some reason, I just feel like we're going to get caught out by that. That's just a prediction. It's not really based on much. But I do feel we're going to have a couple of statement wins, like the 5-0 against Chelsea. I think we might smash United like 5-0 or something. I think we'll have a worse overall record. I think we're going to have a couple of like statement, famous wins next year against the Big Six. I've got a feeling about that. In order to ensure Rice's effectiveness, Arteta will use Saliba more progressively in a John Stones type inverted centre-back role, which will yield a 20-game unbeaten run. I don't know about the unbeaten run, but I do think Saliba will be used in that role next season. I really do see that, or certainly we'll begin to see the fruits of that. You can see him stepping out at times. He wants to go, and I think he can do it. But yeah, I just think we need a bit more security behind him. I think a Timber there will probably help. Someone from the starting 11 last season will be seen as being useless, like what happened with Zinchenko Ramsdale from last season. Yeah, look, someone's going to go. So pick who it is. And I think it's what I said earlier, there's going to be a player in that first 11 who, because they're not top 10 in the world in their position, we have to talk about them moving on. It's not because you hate the player. I think this is a real thing with Arsenal fans because of where we've been, because we have the culture that we have, the attachment to the players. I get it. But saying, I think Martinelli might go, as an example, I don't know whether that will happen, it elicits this mad reaction. It's like, well, is he the best left winger in the world? No. Okay, well, we're trying to win the biggest prizes in football, so he's got to be on the table. It's not a criticism of Martinelli, it's a fact. In the same way that with Arteta, is he the best manager we could possibly get? Then we should talk about it, And I mean possibly get. Obviously, Pep's the best manager in the world. Fine, we can't get him. I mean possibly get. So I think there's and again, I spoke about it in this video. I'm just plugging all my videos now. There needs to be a conversation about that with that in mind. And it's not to say we hate players. It's okay. We think players are brilliant. Are they at that next level? I don't know. Okay, and to finish off, loads and loads of questions about where we'll go in the Premier League and the Champions League, how we'll do in the Cups, etc., etc. So let me just answer all of those at the same time. I think if we have anything above a 7 out of 10 window, I think we win the league. I really do. Because I don't think what stopped us winning the league last season was Man City themselves. I think it was the margin of error that Man City gave us that we fulfilled, basically. We went, yeah, we'll take all of that and more, and made so many errors. I think if we fix the mid-block issue, I think if we fix the left-hand side, I think that is going to have to come largely through the market, but also other tweaks as well within the squad. If we make the right decisions this summer, I think this is the year. I said last year I think we'll come second. I'll revisit this, obviously, after the window closes, but I see us winning the league. I don't see us winning the Champions League as a prediction. I think we'll go further. I think we'll get to another quarterfinal, another semi-final, maybe even a final. I think we'll go further and look better. Again, this will depend on my prediction, maybe between a sort of semi and a final, might be down to the players we sign. I can't see us winning it. I just think that heritage that you need, PSG, Man City, how many teams do we need to see who get to the point where they could win it, and just it takes time. You just need to get in those positions and lose it a couple of times before you win it. And I think we will go far on the cups. I do feel that. Again, am I prioritising them? No. I think we'll get to a final of a cup. Maybe we'll win one. I should probably just make a prediction, shouldn't I? I think we'll win a cup. I think we might win a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup. But for me, I don't really care particularly. When I say I don't care, I mean I want to win, but is that at the top of my list for next season? No. So yeah, look, you want to win every competition you're in, fine. But I just think focusing on that as we've got to do that this season or bust, all the managers out. I don't buy that. So yeah, let's say 7 out of 10 or over window. We do what we need to do. Premier League win. Champions League, quarterfinal, semi-final. I think we'll win one of the domestic cups. And I think we'll get to a semi-final or a final in the other. Big season. Big season. Okay, that will do us. Thank you all for your contributions. Some of them were shocking, but it's okay. It's fine. Joking aside, comment down below what you think I've got right. Comment down below what you think I've got wrong. And I'll see you for another video very, very soon. If you like The Different Knock, you can support us on Patreon monthly, or you can buy us a coffee.